Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. The ADC, Amaechi shock versus INEC deregistration, Sledgehammer. Welcome back. Welcome back. From a vice presidential triumph to a total blackout, the ADC announces Rotimi Amaechi for 2027 just as a federal court orders them erased from the registrar. So we open with massive, chaotic breaking news that has thrown Abuja into absolute panic today. In the dramatic morning announcement, the African Democratic Congress, ADC, officially unveiled former Rivers Governor and Transport Minister Rotimi Amaechi as their vice presidential candidate for the 2027 election, a calculated move meant to solidify their southern footprint. But before the ink could even dry on the posters, a catastrophic legal bomb exploded. A federal high court has just ordered INEC to immediately remove and deregister the ADC alongside several other political parties from the National Register for failing to meet constitutional electoral thresholds. Sharp Edge Nation, this is absolute madness. The party is celebrating a powerhouse ticket in the morning, and by afternoon, the court says the party itself is no longer exists legally. Is this a coordinated institutional archer job to clear the path for the ruling class, or did the ADC's legal team sleep on their duty while chasing 2027 alliances? We're going to get into this analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We'll be right back. So again, the party is celebrating a powerhouse ticket in the morning, and by afternoon, the court says the party itself no longer exists legally. Is this a coordinated institutional hatchet to clear the path for the ruling class? Welcome back to the platform, sir. Hi, Chief Oladimeji Abitogun. Let's have it. Let's have it.
Thank you very much, Ola. It's good to be back. And if we are going to put it in a concise way, going by our motto at SharpEdgeNewsTV.com, I would say yes, it is an institutional asset job meant to depress, meant to whip into line every existing formidable opposition for the emergence of a semblance of just one person on the ballot, just one strong individual for the ballot, thus clearing the path for a one-man rule, one-man dictatorship in Nigeria. Very unfortunate, and since that announcement was made by way of the judicial fiat coming from a certain Justice Linfo, whom have been listed as one of the phases of judicial recklessness in Nigeria, is given a surprise concessions, which is often disguised as ruling to forces that are keeping the system down in Rivers State and everywhere. So this surprise ruling today, in spite of existing pronouncements from courts of superior jurisdiction, say the appellate court, all the way. In fact, there is said to be a pronouncement from an appeal court saying that it should put whatever is doing on hold till sometime in October, probably October 27 or thereabout. In spite of that, in utter disregard of that ruling from the Court of Appeal is gone ahead to make today's surprising, if not totally confounding, pronouncement that ADC, APP, Accord Party, and 2 others to be scrapped off the book. Because in spite of the stoic defense coming from the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC in Nigeria, saying that ADC met the threshold, demonstrating amply that APP had done the needful, that ZLP, the party that was initially floated by former Governor Mimiko of Ondo State and Mr. Dan Anyanwu, that party did well by way of some council elections victory in Abia State, and so on and so forth. This judge still went ahead to do what he did. And fingers have been pointed at the Attorney General of the Federation, who originally appeared on the what's it called, on the matter as a defendant, and curiously, in the last 1 week or thereabout, appeared again as in a very curious way, as now appeared as something else. And then another individual in the office of the Chief of Staff to the President of the Federation is also listed as one of the people who were interested in this case. And then there is this amorphous group of past lawmakers that were said to have also instituted the matter. I do not know the constitutional basis for having people who have served their term to now come together again. And I mean, their voices would always be respected, but they are not a constitutional body. Maybe as a prayer group, like any other association, they have the freedom to associate, but then to want to stoke what looks like events that led to the undoing of First Republic Nigeria, forum shopping that led to the emergence of Justice Sowemimo, who later made that infamous pronouncement when Obafemi Awolowo was sent to 10 years imprisonment for a debatable, treasonable felony trial. The man who said, my hands are tied, Justice Sowemimo. And then you will remember also such judgments during the Second Republic Nigeria and the infamous Basi Ikpeme midnight ruling against June 12, against the electoral victory of Chief MKO Abiola, leading to the famous June 12, which was also observed as a Democracy Day holiday in Nigeria few days ago, last Friday. So where are we? It's like Nigeria is embarking on a kind of deja vu, something familiar journey again. And it's a road that ought not to have been taken. Because this justice now seems to have put himself in the eye of the storm. And the world is watching. And this is our position here at SharpEdgeNews.com. We're saying that all international bodies should put this judge on their blacklist. They should impose against him that visa ban. They should make sure that he tastes of the bitter pill and whatever is administering on the Nigerian system. If he's willing to go this way, to go this far, by way of extrajudicial pronouncement, something that negates whatever he should be doing as somebody that should be interpreting the laws. I think, like people have opined, like some people have said, Lord Dennis, the famous wizard of law, people like Justice Akinla Aguda will be turning in their graves now that the hallowed chambers of law and its place as a veritable tool for social re-engineering and rebirth is being desecrated, and that somebody ought to go there. So the NJC should take note. Now, in spite of this, would ADC be running? I think I've had the spokesperson of the party, former Minister Bolaji Abdullahi, coming on air earlier tonight, saying that the party will forge on. That in this kind of situation, this kind of trial, that the party has always been known, that is African Democratic Congress has always been known to do very well. Say, for instance, when the party said, when INEC was holding to some questionable judgments again from one of the courts, saying David Mark's name had been struck out as the chairman of the party, the legitimate chairman of the party, that they forged on. And that in this kind of adversity, what they see as the test of their stay in power, that they will do well and that they are going to be on the ballot. I believe them, because for years, for decades, the African National Congress, ANC, in South Africa was deregistered, delegitimized, derecognized by the South African apartheid segregationist state. Yet the party was so vibrant in the heart of majority of Africans, or let's say South African colored citizens of that country. Ultimately, after years of being in the limbo, or what people will call as a form of political purgatory, the party rose again like the phoenix from its ashes. And you saw how through it, somebody that had been written off completely, somebody that was expected to waste away in prison, later became, in person of the later President Nelson Mandela, became the leader of a multi-party and multiracial government in South Africa. So if this pronouncement is meant to send some panic, well, from the lessons of history, especially if you are somebody that has been interested in how subjugated people interest always pop up and claim victory, run away with victory. I've been doing that a lot with Black Studies in the United States of America, taking interest in how people fought through slavery, how they were able to upturn the game against their oppressors. I think ADC is there to stay. And finally, on this subject, Ola, Rotimi Amaechi coming on the ticket is a fundamental test of unity for the dream of that Biafra then, because everybody will say Peter Obi is on the ballot. How is this? I mean, what does this portend for the hope of somebody like Rotimi Amaechi? If you understand the Rotimi Amaechi's political machine, I think fundamentally, if Peter Obi is not going to work for Easterners, at least Rotimi Amaechi would do something, at least to assuage the interest of not just Southerners. It would also do something for the interest of our brothers in the Southeast. But it's early in the day. Let us see what this journey concerning democracy portends for the future of Nigeria. Thank you very much. Good to be back.
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some other trendy stories around the world. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The State Police Constitutional Tsunami, a historic show of hands. And what we have is the House of Reps, House of Representatives officially passes the State Police Bill, moving the battleground to Akpabio's Senate. As of press time, the structural layout of Nigeria's internal security is hours away from a historic rewrite. In an incredibly tense legislative session, the House of Representatives formally passed the constitutional alteration bill to establish state police, successfully mobilizing the required two-thirds majority by a dramatic show of hands. The bill moves policing from the exclusive to the concurrent list, officially empowering state governors to form their own forces. All eyes are now on Senate President Godswill Akpabio as the Senate has just fast-tracked the bill, referring it to the Constitution Review Committee to accelerate the rollout. So, for over 20 years, the elders have debated this, with critics warning that governors will use state police as private political armies, with banditry claiming high profile victims. Is this decentralized policing our ultimate salvation, or are we jumping from the fry pan straight into the political fire? The sharp edge is yours, sir.
Yes, thank you, Ola. The positives you have raised are very valid, and it could be a matter of jumping from the frying pan to the fire. And as well, you described it as a tsunami. I do not really even see it as as a temperature storm. Talking of tsunami or or any form of a tornado or maybe hurricane. No, I do not see it as such. It's what I would describe as the storm in a teacup. You know, it's a small deal, but politicians have this incapable capability. Yes, if such expressions could be permitted, they have this capability for staging hyperbolic drama. They just want to serve something on the plate so that the voters can have something exciting, and there's nothing exciting about it because so history has a way of recycling stuff, development, and people. For example, in First Republic in Nigeria, if you saw what things were perpetuated through native police formations, then there won't be any unbridled excitement about the coming of state police. I think I've been at a forum, and that day I drew the loudest applause when I was pitched against individuals like the then president of Nigerian Bar Association, Mr. Joseph Dauda in Abuja. I had been invited there through some groups linked to former, then he wasn't the governor, linked to Mr. Nasir El-Rufai. You know, he was championing a debate on that. And so I was invited by a certain lawyer, Mustafa from Ilorin, and I spoke at that forum in Abuja. And what I said then is what I'm reiterating now. Yes to community policing, decentralization that you mentioned, devolution of the overkill of authorities, arrogation of power given to the Nigerian police force. Strip it of that description as a force. You know, what do we call it now? Something coming from Nigeria as a colonial past. Let it be a people's police. Let it be people friendly, and from campuses, even the training of such police formations. It's not something that is supposed to be regional. You see the template in America here. A community college has a police training department. All over any community college has this. in the United States of America. If that is going to be the model we want to copy, that is true federalism, then devolve their training, let their training be humane, and then apart from having functional campus police formations, then you move it to city and village precincts where they can be hosted and well funded, and then from there you have it at the local government level, like the county, it's where you have the sheriff or the state, something, and the the federal arm of the police. What this means is that you would have encouraged individuals from various communities in Nigeria to be part of and to own their place. If a policeman is going to be so poorly focused in the management of protests, demonstrations, and investigations and all that, you know his father's address, you know where this person is coming from, you know his pedigree. But what they are advocating is something that they are doing without the benefit of hindsight and history. Such native authority police was involved in the Usho Holocaust of 1965 that led to the removal, to the dethronement of Olowo, Olateru, Olagbeji II. Because people, there is this study group somewhere in Ibadan, maybe, I don't know what they call themselves, Ibuduasha or whatever. They have repackaged the story about Olateru Olagbeji, not remembering that that man was a murderous monarch who killed, who got the native police authority and what have you to go to kill people, to almost destroy that ancient town. Something that has continued with the current government in Ondo State. You know, Usho that used to have the second most important monarch, king, in our local government today has been relegated completely, and all kinds of individuals, because of speaking our Yoruba sub-language, are elevated as first class, and Usho is relegated. Continuation of that. So, in the hands of a government that can use independent state electoral commission, or any government, all state governments do it in Nigeria. So what trust would can come from such what's it called? State government in the use and management of a state police? It's going to be a massive failure. I'm not excited about it. I'm not tickled at all. And I think this should recommend itself for further intellectual and philosophical probe, so that when the future that we are anticipating arrives, nobody will be biting a finger of regret that, oh, if we knew. But let me just put it this way. If you could appropriate so much money to state governments and they divert it, if you could appropriate so much in terms of a security vote to state governments, they don't ever use it to secure the people. All they use it for is to amaze overbearing and overreach authority to oppress opposition and never give them a voice. There is no hope in the so-called policing, and thank God it's moving to the Senate. But from there, you know that I think at least 24 houses of assembly all over Nigeria will still have to endorse that, and it comes back before it can meet the threshold of being amended and incorporated into the Constitution of Nigeria. But I see it as a dangerous slide in Nigeria's constitutional evolution. Nigeria has been there before. It did not really work well. Under the Northern People's Congress, NPC, when Sir Ahmadu Bello was leading as the regional premier of Northern region in Nigeria, they were used to crush opposition campaigns and what have you. And in Obakoko, during the re-election of Governor Oluwarotimi, Odun Akeredolu, may God rest his soul. You saw what Amotekun was accused of. People, these are recent developments. People pretend as if these things do not matter. But in the hands of aggressive, tendentious individuals in democracies, you don't have it as absolute. Even in America here, the so-called local police formation sheriffs, you saw their connivance in encouraging human trafficking, hiding the facts about slavery and what have you, and encouraging Jim Crow segregation before people could organize by way of resistance and peaceful protestations to throw away social, what's it called? Social oppression. So these are times we must worry about, and you see what the judiciary has been doing in the hands of strong individuals like Jason Wike and what have you. So the focus, yes, there must be a proactive formula for containing terror, for containing banditry, for containing kidnapping, for containing armed robbery, for containing all kinds of crimes, small and big. But state police or state policing, whatever phrase they are using now, is something that must be approached with caution. And as we proceed, I hope there will be people that will grow some spine to draw out the pros and cons of institutionalizing this. Before Nigerians again begin to cry, oh, in the hands of the governors, the police is being used to oppress, they will use it to oppress people. Governors do all kinds of stuff. Like, those states where I told you that somebody who's been benefiting from ransom payment and all that will soon be installed as the illegitimate occupant of a throne that is supposed to be sacred. Where I've told you that a process that had concluded in terms of getting 3 kingmakers to participate in the new king selection in Ayede Ogbese has been rigged, and saying it's only just 2 kingmakers now. So, in the hands of tendentious people, these things would always be manipulated. They will be used for negative advantage, and the people will suffer the consequence in the final analysis. So we need to proceed with caution. That is what I am saying.
All right, thank you so much. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications so you're notified when we go live. We have some other trendy stories. Join the conversation in the comment, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Marriott. I see you. I see Marriott. I see Hello Kitty. Good to see you guys. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notifications, and we'll be right back. Falana's 20-year jail warning to governors. Negotiating is a crime. Femi Falana issues a brutal warning to the federal government and governors. Pay ransom, go to jail. So, we have a massive legal bomb dropped by human rights lawyer Femi Falana today. Speaking directly, well, I think this was actually over the weekend, speaking directly on the heels of General Abubakar's anyway, there's rumors of state-backed negotiations. Falana has issued a blistering public warning to the federal government and state governors. He made it crystal clear that under Section 14 of the Terrorism Prevention Act, negotiating with or paying ransoms to terrorists attracts a mandatory 20-year jail term. Falana argued that by continuously begging, treating bandits with kid gloves, and giving concessions, the political class is actively funding the ammunition used to kill our security forces. Sharp Edge Nation, this is a direct challenge to the governors who secretly and openly negotiate peace deals with bandits in the forest. Will Falana's heavy legal reminder force leaders to stop funding criminality, or will they continue to break the law in secret just to secure temporary peace? Ladies and gentlemen, High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun, your sharp edge, sir.
Thank you, Ola. I cannot agree any less with the learned Sikh, Shifemi Falana. And by the way, when you refer to erudite lawyers and accomplished legal luminaries like Shifemi Falana as learned Sikh, it simply means because we must be able to communicate in a way that ordinary folks will understand what we are saying. Being a learned Sikh means is a senior advocate of Nigeria. That is, he has distinguished himself and has been so honored and so pronounced by the body of benchers and everybody that is involved in the honoring senior lawyers in Nigeria. Now, he's reminding us of that constitutional lacuna, that provision or that burden that is in the Constitution that says that nobody is allowed to negotiate with terrorists and ransom payment or things like that. Dropping ransom, it's illegal and will attract 20 years jail term. But sometimes I wonder if this our distinguished man of law does not engage in what would be termed as academic exercise in law, because this that really contradicts our the reality of living in Nigeria today. And I do not say this with with levity. I'm not casualizing the seriousness of what we have at hand. But the truth of the matter is that when people kidnap beloved Nigerian compatriots, child, women, men, and with an agenda to make sure that everybody is rendered defenseless, what options do we have? Personally, my conviction is that nobody should pay ransom, but it's better imagined, and it's something that is easy to say when you are not in that kind of pickle, when you are not when you are not in that situation. Take, for instance, a corps member that a female corps member that was kidnapped and allegedly begged and was raped. I mean, in a very dehumanizing way, and they wanted the father to come and drop ransom. She got on the phone with the father, don't bring any ransom, because even if you pay, and she said if she was released, she would not live like a normal human being because of the way she'd been violated over and over while being held by these bandits. That the father should keep the money that he had struggled to raise. And the evil people, these people that are driven by ill-digested religious and political ideologies, decided to put the bullet to the lady's head. How about the story of a woman that was carrying a pregnancy of twins, that gave birth to this set of twins, and then the twins were fed to dogs by these satanic elements calling themselves religious warriors? Examples are banned. So in order for these tragedies to be mitigated, if people are dropping ransom, I don't know about governors, because you also see governors actively trying to install people that have been involved in all kinds of non-state violence against the community, against officials of government. You see, like I mentioned last week, in the case of Governor Ayedatiwa from Ondo State, who is actively preparing to install somebody that is known to be a violent character, somebody that has benefited from proceeds of ransom in a place like Ayedeogbese, planning to make him king. And DSS is not preparing intelligence to let this man know that that is a dangerous trend. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not saying anything about this. And people say, as a kingmaker, who should be midwifing the process? Why am I speaking up? Because nobody is speaking up. I will speak up, and I'm not that kind of kingmaker. Being made a chief or being made a king is to guide people. Then that in itself is absurd and ridiculous. Everybody must be able to speak up when you see something that will hurt the system, and that is because we are not speaking up. That is why people are doing all these things, and governors are dropping ransom, and nobody is calling the shots. Thank God, Femi Falana is calling the shots, but it's a difficult situation. It's a difficult thing to imagine, to handle. Because first and foremost, the effort, the initiative is to make sure that everybody that is being held captive is, is let go without any form of harm, without being killed. I think this is why these governors do some of these things. But there must be wider consultation. Why is this thing so intractable? And I do not believe that it is intractable, but because you have the crisis merchants, people who benefit from the flow of blood, from bloodletting, blood shedding, there won't be any excitement about it. The military industrial complex in itself, in Nigeria, also is not transparent such that you will see through and through that these people actually mean what they say. For example, the former military spokesperson in Nigeria, a major general that was kidnapped, died in the custody of these kidnappers. And then the breaking news that came in all before we got on air was that the wife of this general, who hitherto had been held, even after the husband had been unalive, has been murdered. The wife has just been rescued by soldiers and officers of maybe 7th Brigade or something like that. But that woman, before being rescued, the widow of the late Major General, sustained gunshots from the fleeing terrorists, because the words, the description, bandits, kidnappers, and all that is really whittling down the seriousness of the situation that Nigeria is in. Nigeria is at war. Oh ye, hear this. Nigeria is at war. And whatever gimmick, whatever strategy, whatever tactics must be used to tackle these individuals, they are not intractable. Like I've always said, I cannot be highlighting everything I know on how to contain this kind of crisis. But if anybody is reaching out to us, or they want to be educated on the little knowledge we have about doing this, and do not say that, oh, he's never been a soldier, how did you know? You study, you acquire knowledge, and the day you stop doing that, you must see yourself as toast, as being a dead person. So while still alive, we will continue to understudy the way developed nations, the way free nations did it, how they earned their freedom. And Nigeria must be free. And that freedom is not always about dropping ransom at every beck and call by governors like Femi Falana wants us to understand. Yes, the de-radicalization of a thing that we say, before you even target the people who are purveyors of this evil, you must be able to win their mind. You know that in the battle for persons recruiting the human mind, first understand who you are. You are torn between Arabism, Islam, what's it called? Westernization and Christianity, and what have you. Who are you as an African? Have you discovered yourself? man, you must first know thyself. That's what the ancient philosophers taught us. Who are you as an African? Why must I die because of the ideology of one person or the other? Because after all, whether you live in the Middle East today or is in the Western country, you are not fully accepted. So if these people are using their own ideologies and philosophies to push you into self-annihilation, why can't you take a pause and locate your interest in the middle of all this? Instead of that rush first to drop ransom. So this call directly is to National Orientation Agency in Nigeria, NOAA, the place they call the culture, what's it called? A place for cultural education or what have you. And like we used to have on our syllabus curriculum in those days concerning civics, social studies, and what have you, without poisoning the mind of people through murderous nationalism, can we really embrace our humanity? The radicalization must be for everybody. I cannot hate on my Muslim brothers and sisters. I can't hate on my fellow Nigerian compatriots who are adherents of traditional religion. I can't hate on fellow Christians. I just want to love human beings without crossing any sensitive cultural boundaries. And that does not mean that when I see a European visiting Nigeria that I must frown my face. That does not mean that I should not be welcoming to the Arab when they come around, but I must also know that these people, in their past dealings with us, have not been completely honest. So let us stand as a people and defend our humanity and our land of birth. That's what I'm saying. So I agree totally with Chifemi Falana that paying ransom should not be the first thing on the plate. There are different options. And then equipping the military properly. Now that generals have been targeted, the wife being shot, and children being held in captive in Ogbomoso, and the forest in Oyo State, and all over the Southwest and all over Nigeria. What do? Are we considering the issue of self-defense, studying and understanding over and over the enemies that are attacking us and how we can give them a chase, and then making sure that we look beyond what government is saying. You cannot be carrying shakabula, then gun or musket and think that you can really secure victory against invading forces. If you are not going to have that weapon that matches what they carry, you must have superior firepower as well. And it's not all the time that you must listen to what the government is saying, because madness must first be used to cure madness before the system can stabilize. It would also be criminal to be law-abiding where the government and people that they are protecting as terrorists, where they have become so lawless. I think I would recommend for our people further reading in liberation education, liberation paths, in order for Nigerians to secure true freedom. Thank you very much, Ola.
Anyway, they laughing. Is that what you said?
That's right. That is that is right. What's the name of that guy? Thai currency in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. Yes,
I don't know.
We're laughing. I can dance. but we can, yeah.
Wow.
So that's the way to go. That's
Ladies
the way to go.
and gentlemen, join the conversation. Join the conversation in the comment section. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this conversations. But yes, we have some other stuff, and then we'll be right back. All right, so and I decided to bring this back up as a special. I know we had a conversation before we went live, but maybe you can put it as part of the special. The tragic death of General Abubakar in captivity. Um, so we had this prepared before, but just put it out there. Anger in the military, sorrow in Asorok. A retired major general dies in the bandit camp, and the ex-generals say the state has failed. A heartbreaking and infuriating tragedy that has completely shattered the defense community. Over the weekend, the Katsina state government officially confirmed the death of a retired Major General, I think it's Rabe Abubakar, a legendary former director of defense information. The general who was violently abducted alongside his wife on May 30th while traveling to a wedding tragically passed away from complications of diabetes and hypertension while being held in a bandit camp. Just last week, his captors released a harrowing video demanding the release of detained terrorists as ransom. President Tinubu has expressed deep sorrow, issuing a fierce ultimatum to bandits to surrender now or face total annihilation, warning that the state will never be blackmailed. So the ex-generals are furious. They are calling this a monumental failure of state capacity. If a two-star general cannot be protected or rescued by the very state he served, what hope is left for the ordinary traveler on our highways? Ladies and gentlemen, it's our time for the final segment of the hour. Let's welcome back the publisher, editor-in-chief, and High Chief Oladimeji Abitogun for our concluding section here. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you very much, Ola. Yeah, it's so sad, but even as we mourn the untimely and avoidable death of the former Defense Information Director, Major General Rabe Abubakar, I think the retired generals that are expressing outrage and spitting fire now about the failure of the state should have also been seen to be saying this when generals and the senior officers are actively serving were also being cut down by these satanic elements calling themselves whatever, because whatever they have no manifesto that is clear, that is understandable, that can form basis of any negotiation. You see, when the reactions of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at times could be baffling. Which one is this talk of is either they do this or annihilated? Please annihilate if you want to annihilate. Go after them if you want to go after them. They don't deserve that dignity of being forewarned before you harm them. They have harmed the state. They have done grievous and egregious things to Nigerian citizens. So what other notice are you serving on them? If you must really prove yourself to be a worthy statesman, somebody who is worthy of the office of president and commander-in-chief, you are not going to approach this issue with Jeko mentality. You are not going to approach this as something that is fickle, and you can't just be seen as being weak. You know, President Tinubu projects power, authority, and force in a wrong way against suppression of opposition elements and organizations within the political space. Meanwhile, those that should be aggressively targeted and put down are these insurrectionists and terrorists. That is where I really want to see him display hard military power. But he's not doing that. And on the downside, every report you see, Ola, on the the tragedy that has befallen the family of the late Major General Rabe Abubakar is always talking of the kidnapped wife. Doesn't she have a name? You see sexism there? You see, I mean, this thing that is being done to like subsume her under the suffering and the fate of the husband. Every pain, every tragedy is personal. Now she's carrying a gun wound. When when she was rescued earlier today, while those cowardly elements who call themselves whatever, when they were running, because you would think that somebody who would be so bold and brazen to embrace terrorism would be able to fight man to man, but they are so sneaky. These are serpentine characters. These are elements that are, so difficult to track. And they look at that as tactics. Me, I say they are cowards. You want to fight me, don't come, back knifing me. Don't throw that knife at me from the back. Look me eyeball to eyeball. Let me see you do this. We roll out. Let our eyeballs grow bigger. Let us roll the eyeballs at each other, and then I know that I'm fighting man to man. But you sneak away like the cow. They sneak away like the cowards they are. You know, they prey on women. They prey on children. They make the market for slaves, human trafficking to come alive again. What a shame in this century and time. And so, by denying the woman a name within the media space, is a big disservice and injustice. We need to know her name. And the government ought to be up and straight with us as citizens. Honestly, they told us that Rabe Abubakar succumbed to precondition medical situation of diabetes. The children have said our father did not have such a medical situation. So things like this make it look like the Nigerian government is enabling by sharing and parroting the same storyline, the same talking point with the terrorists. How did he die? Why the rush to bury him? Why was there no coroner's inquest on the circumstance of his death? And stretching these religious beliefs too far to hide facts of murder and homicide is something I cannot really understand or handle. It's too big for me to wrap my brain around. And I think most Nigerians are anguished by this fact too. Because you want to bring things to closure, you put your card on the table. Don't sneak information on us. Don't talk to us in filters and don't make us feel like we are nincompoops. We are not. Nigerians are not. Whether home or abroad. We are curious on knowing how we are being governed. That said, we pray that God will grant the soul of the departed Major General sweet repose, and that may his healing balm drop and touch on the injured wife, and may God give that family and generality of Nigerians the fortitude to bear this loss. However, you see, we're making it to look like the comets should be sailing because of the death of a prince or a royal personality. No. Like we also say, everybody comes through the bad channel, whether as a slave or whether you're talking of a child of a slave or the child of the freeborn. And nobody is even a slave anywhere. God gave us freedom. We're all born free, but we all put ourselves in bondage most times. So what I'm saying is, in Yoruba parlance, is "Ibita bieru ni abi omo." If we are going to be so pained by the death of a major general this way, if we are going to be so pained by the beheading of a teacher, how about the myriads, thousands, if not millions of nameless individuals that fall victim daily, not just to the cruelty of terrorists, but also to the wicked policies of sitting governments all over the world. Some food for thought for all of us right there. Thank you. Now, in this special segment, it's difficult for me to overlook certain issues. I have been warning the governor of Ondo State in the last few days, especially Governor Lucky Orimiso. I do not know why he's not being interviewed by the DSS, the different security apparatus, the police that are enabling him, the president of Nigeria, lawmakers in Ondo State, the federal lawmaking body, and all kinds of interested parties on why he is so eager and curious to install somebody who is a terrorist sympathizer in Ayede Ogbefe. That individual, just because he's been allowed to windsurf, has been saying whether the kingmakers endorse him or not, that the governor is going to install him because the governor's sister, the governor has a sister who is an Olori in Ayede Ogbefe. It's a lie. The governor is not related in any way, form, or shape to Olori Funminejo Oluyede. They are not related by blood. But the fact that they both come from the riverine part of the coastal area of Ondo State, SLDO, Ilaje people, does not mean that you will not use that to want to subjugate and hold people down in perpetuity. The governor is committing an egregious unconstitutional act. There is a duly gazetted law concerning how kings and chiefs are made. It is called the Chieftaincy Declaration, as it applies to the throne of Alayede of Ayede Ogbese. In that place, there could be 3 kingmakers. The Lisa, the Odopetu, that is me, and the LMO. And it's been approved and concluded that the LMO has chosen a warranty to act on their behalf because the former occupier of that stool died. And so to now form that platform, the thing was supervised, it was observed by government officials. By way of rigging, the governor changed that and said it is just Lisa and Odopetu that must vote. But let me warn the person that is being paraded as the candidate of the governor. They are just going to use him as what Yorubas or Akure people call Digerewu, or Confirmu Digerewu ni. They will use him in the interim and then unalive him and then bring up their candidate that they want to be there because they want to circumvent the process. But let me tell you, it's not a matter of revenge, but people, the custodians, the natural custodians of justice and justiciable processes will not allow for things like this. I'm not part of the process. If there is a conspiracy to destroy your throne in Ayede Ogbese, please, I have spoken out, not just as Oladimeji Abitogun, I've spoken out as Odopetu, and as a conscientious journalist. I'm not part of that conspiracy. To warn Governor Lucky Orimiso from this path, that today you are governor and then you are propping up your people to oppress less fortunate people. When you are gone, when you are no longer the governor, who will protect your own people? This is the cycle we have always wallowed in Nigeria, and we say the system is warped, it is twisted. Who is twisting it? Who is warping it? And finally, on this subject, the person who has been jumping all over the place, throwing fists in the air that, he's going to be installed by the governor, whether the people want him or not, accosted a fellow contestant to that throne last week and threatened that he will make him disappear, that he will decapitate him. Such open threat against a fellow Nigerian citizen. Nigerians, you see where they have taken you. This is the standard, and then we'll be talking of Amotekun as if it's the beginning of the beginning and the end of security in Nigeria. This is the potential danger that we all face in that system. A word for the wise. God bless all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. Please share, subscribe. I hope you're enlightened, educated from today's show. Please help us share to everybody. Join the Sharp Edge Nation. Please subscribe everywhere and follow on Facebook. We're also on Facebook. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. We'll see you on the next one. Take care and God bless.